Hey guys, it's Huff, and today I'm going to show you how to perform a compression test on a small 2-cycle engine. That's a small engine, I'd say. This is a small engine. That's 4-cycle. So, get your engine. One way to test compression as well. How easy it is to, how hard is it to pull? The harder the better, the easier. It's not as good. Like if you can pull this, and you're not able to pull the unit up, that means you have zero compression, which is bad for your motor, which pretty much means your piston rings are worn. But it could be a few other things. But generally, it's your piston rings are worn, generally. So let's talk about compression. Compression is a measure of how worn your piston rings are, pretty much, or not necessarily. It's about how much compression it can make, the piston. Because like I said, it's going to be the more the better. Generally what you want to see with these, I put an edger on the end, but it could be anything at once. I guess this was free, by the way. This is a 9-year-old unit, actually. So I'll shock you by its reading, but generally you want 100 or up. 90 could run, but really weak. Anything under 90, chances it probably won't run. Yikes. And other reasons, things that can cause low compression as well. Running an improper mixture, which we're gonna, so make sure you mix your gas up. 50 to 1 it uses 2.6 ounces of oil. 40 to 1 uses even more oil, like 3.2 ounces. 32 to 1, most engines today don't use that, if any. But older engines do. That's even more oil in it, and 16 to 1. But if you use a synthetic blend or a universal blend, apparently you can literally just make up a 50 to 1 ratio and use it in a 16 to 1, which is mowers that are probably like 60 in the 60s, like lawn boys. So that's the compression. So you want a good reading. This shows how much you've taken care. This one gets 180 to 150, 150 to 180, which means I took care of it in the 1.5 years I owned it. This just has a lot of compression because all I have to do is pull it. It doesn't feel like it has the most compression, but definitely does feel like it has compression. So what is a dry compression test? Well, it's the raw compression test we're gonna do now. What's a wet compression test? We're gonna put just a tad bit of oil into the cylinder to test if your piston ring is worn. Generally, if it's over 20 to 30 psi difference, that probably means your piston rings have been worn down. So we're gonna test that right now. This is gonna be a new test for me. I have not tested that. So, what do you need? Well, you need a compression tester. This is the Innova Equus compression tester. It cost me $22.75. They vary in price. You can get them pretty expensive or pretty cheap. But it's just a nice tool to have to see how healthy your engine is. Next is a ratchet. Generally, these small engines take a 3/4 inch socket bit, but it can vary. You have to use what you got. So I'm going to switch this. We're going to put it into the spark plug because we're to access the cylinder. Nope, that's the wrong way. Ooh. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to take the spark plug off. You can also inspect the piston by taking this muffler off. Well, I took off the muffler or exhaust, if you want to call it that, or whatever the fuck it's called. And the piston looked flawless. I mean, it looked impeccable. So, like, I didn't see any scratches. It looked almost fake. So whoever had this before me obviously did take good care. Next, we're going to have to screw in this compression tester directly into the cylinder. Hopefully my leg doesn't touch. I'll make sure it's pretty tight, but not too tight. Now, when you do these tests, you want to squeeze the throttle particularly on these. So I'm gonna put the tester right here, and you can see what reading I get. It is gonna be amazing considering this is just a pretty old unit. 9 years old for one of these units is pretty old, but I mean, it's still pretty good. So I'll leave you right there, and let's do the test. So let's go. I'm gonna squeeze the throttle. Oh, what do we do next? We squeeze the throttle, we pull the handle like 10 to 15 times till the needle does not move anymore, okay? So I'm gonna do that right now, so. And here's my reading. Just about a little over 120, which is what this thing's consistently giving me. I lost some, it's losing stuff. Why is it losing stuff? For some reason it's losing compression, like the needle. And then you just push this to do it. So let's do another test, see if we get the same thing. Let me make sure it's sealed. We're gonna put you down, we're gonna do the same thing again. Alright, let's see what we get right here. Same thing, 20. Just a little bit over 120. So, it keeps losing it for some reason. Maybe I didn't seal it. But it gets a little over 120. But what about if we put some oil in the engine? Let's see. I promise you I've not tested this one. So 120 is amazing. So I'm definitely I'm not skeptical. So we're just gonna drizzle a tad bit of oil, just the slightest bit, into the crank. We're gonna put it there. I'm not gonna film it. Let me add just a tad bit more. That's more than enough, I think I put. But we put some. Whoops. So, sorry I spilled some. But the oil engine cranks over. Now let's put the tester back and let's see how much compression we can make. See if hopefully it doesn't make any more. If it does, not much. Because that'd be kind of pretty shitty. If my tester could actually screw in. Doesn't want to screw in, man. The fuck? No, that's loose. If you hear air, that means it's didn't screw your spark plug back in. So I'm just gonna screw the tester back, and hopefully correctly, because this is not. Now it's working. It's cooperating. So I put some oil into there. This is 2-cycle Briggs oil, which my neighbor had. He thought it was supposed to put in his mower, but he didn't know the difference between a 2 and a 4-cycle engine, apparently. So I'm gonna put it right there, and we're gonna see. Moment of truth. The engine has a hard time cranking, which means it's somewhat hydrolocked, unfortunately. But that's okay. I got strength. We're gonna do it. Yeah, it's definitely a little bit hydrolocked. Make sure it's in the camera. Moment of truth. What did we get? Uh-oh. We got a reading of 180, which to go from 120 to 180 is not good at all, guys. That is not good. So maybe the piston rings are worn. I mean, I looked for it in the intake, it didn't look that bad, but to go from 120 PSI to 180, I am not so sure about that. The thing still runs though. I just put a new carb on it and new fuel lines. That's all I had to do. So that's not really promising. So to get literally, oh, I accidentally tap it to release it. But to get 180 when you do a wet compression test from 120, that's just as simple as I'll put it. That's not really good. I'm actually shocked I just got that. But 120 is still really good compression. I'll ask the internet. If that's bad. Now, last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put the engine back together. Not really, but you get my idea. We're gonna screw this spark plug back in. Yeah, I kind of hydrolock the engine, which, oh, I'm sorry, if you don't know what hydrolock means, it literally means your engine's stuffed up with so much oil in the piston it can't move. Well, I think I didn't hydrolock it too bad. It happens a lot, mostly on mowers. When people overfill it with oil, it literally seizes the engine, so it's like you can't even pull it over. But I can still pull this over, and it's not a big deal. 180, yikes. But you never know. I just learned something today. This thing has a 60 psi difference, which doesn't sound good. I mean, I'm not sure if it's good, but I think that's pretty bad. I'm thinking. To get 60 psi difference, I'm sorry I keep saying the same thing again, but that sounds pretty not good. I'll put it that way. This just does not sound good, guys. I mean, the thing still runs, still can do stuff. So I'm gonna keep it for a year. Until the motor is shot. And I only paid 22 bucks. That's to fix it up. Sorry, I invested 22. I didn't give it to someone to fix. I'm not that idiot. I can fix this shit up myself. It's easy. But, yep. Thanks for watching.